Hey, good evening, everyone. My name's Andy. Just wanted to introduce myself and start off this channel with just the topic and question of, is buying a home the right thing for you right now? And I don't really necessarily have like a proper answer, but I do have some just facts and information that just really raise the question and kind of push the question of, hey, does it make sense for me to right now in this current, just real estate market to get into a house right now with the way just things have been and different prices have gone up and real estate has effectively stagnated at this point, right? Like houses haven't moved too much over the past year in value, but they've gotten more expensive to purchase and maintain because the price of everything else has continued to increase. And that's kind of been the trend quite aggressively over the course of the past 5 years, and even a little bit before that, we were headed kind of in a similar direction. But looking at things now, I just have to look at statistics like today's interest rates are at 6.9 compared to what they were in 2019, which was about 3.9%, right? This is going to, regardless of the price of anything else, is going to directly impact the price that you're paying for the home, right? If you have to pay more money to lend money to, if you have to pay more for the money that you're lending in order to pay for the home, right? That's effectively what a mortgage is. It's a loan on your home or on the house, on the real estate that you are purchasing. So having a higher interest rate is going to increase that, but it's not only that, because today people seem to really have the idea that, oh, like interest rates need to come down, that way the real estate, you know, can start flowing again and people can start buying. But I know that I'm in the category and in the, just group of people that look at the market and say, hey, like even if interest rates were to go down fairly significantly, even if they were to go down to what they were in 2019, the truth of the matter is everything's more expensive. And in this case specifically, and alone of buying the house itself is more expensive, right? So a home in 2019, not the average, but the median home in the US was selling for $270,000, right? Depending on where you are in the world, 270,000 US might still be a lot. And at least for us here in the US, we definitely wish that was, what we could get into a decent home for in any type of a populated area or well-developed area. The truth is that it's a lot more expensive than that. And we see that with what are we in 2025? The median home price is now over 400,000, right? They're estimating it's a kind of a range from 400,000 to 410. So definitely over 400,000 has been the median home sale in 2025. And man, that is a 50% increase from 2019 pre-pandemic prices and everything like that. And so even if you bring down interest rates, even if you bring them down to zero, obviously that's a great deal and it's very motivating. But it's like, man, can I afford to overpay for this house is really the question, right? Is this not even can I afford isn't necessarily the question I want us to be asking as much as can I, be investing this money. Very much we see the case that it costs kind of near $1,000 more to own a house, the same house now, than it did compared to 2019. That's just a random ballpark number, right? I'm just throwing a number out there. Let's say it's $1,000 difference. Can I invest that money in, my business, in my investments? Can I invest it in real estate elsewhere than my own personal living quarters? These are questions I've had to ask myself and that me and my wife have been asking. Can I invest that money elsewhere, right? and build up my wealth and my long-term financial well-being and stability instead of kind of flushing it down the drain on a home that, needs repairs or insurance is going up. And that's the next and final statistic that I want us to kind of look over. And that is the fact that I don't have a 2019 number to compare it to, but it's looking like the average price or amount that people are spending to repair, upkeep, insure, taxes on their home, kind of the hidden cost, if you will, that looks like over $20,000 a year. 21,000 is the statistic. That's 20,000 that has nothing to do with any of upkeeping the house or the price of the house. That's unrelated, right? And so if you're having to spend that much on your home to maintain it every year, it's like, man, can I, just, I'm really pushed to ask the question, right, of like, hey, like, if it's gonna cost me, $2,600 a month on a mortgage to get into a place that we remotely like whatsoever and doesn't feel like a dump, and then we're also going to be spending tens of thousands a year on repairs and insurance and taxes, me and my family are just looking at, what if I just rent for essentially half that and invest the rest and allow it to grow and work for me and get more familiar in that space? Sure, it goes against the typical procedures and things like that, your mom might have seen for you and thought that you would, path you go in life, but it's for our our benefit, right? It's for a more stable, more substantial future, and not just eating up what we can now, right? Like, let's plant as many seeds as we can as opposed to eating them all. That's kind of a great analogy I think we can use to compare this to, is like, can I save some of this, put it to work for me, put it to grow for me so that it multiplies and works for me, instead of putting all of it and stretching it out to just say that I own a home, right? So that's just something that's been on my mind and that I've recently kind of thought about, and kind of a decision that me and my family are making right now. Is instead of, saving up for a down payment, saving up, you know, half $100,000, like, instead of putting aside 50K, it's like, man, like, and just having it sit there is like, can we put it to work? Like, can we make it multiply? Can we, instead of putting an extra thousand into owning a place, can we put it into, the business that we want to start, or the stock market? There's always other avenues of growth that kind of tend to be more consistently producing more money. And while that is possible with real estate, it's very hard to do with your own home, right? So I just wanted to encourage and kind of share this thought, this idea, get other people's thoughts and ideas on this, and, see what you think. I don't necessarily have the funds to do much of anything right now, but as me and my wife are planning and working on getting debt free, this is what's on our mind and what we're seeing makes sense. So I'd love to hear your story, your wisdom, and your advice, and talk to you soon.